You're out here on the street corner hustling sesame flatbreads when some immortal cultivation big shot starts wiping out civilians. This dude's giant hand comes down and obliterates an entire city, leaving nothing but a massive handprint in the ground. You're the only person left alive within 100 miles. Turns out you literally can't die. And you've got this stat allocation system in your head. You can dump points into strength, magic, or luck. Every year you survive, you get 1 stat point. So your plan? Find somewhere to lay low, wait for all these immortals to die off, then come back out and run the world. 2.5 years into your grind, you land a job as a constable in some backwater little town. You live by one rule: always do good deeds. You help fallen women get back on their feet, hook them up as top performers at the local parlor. You even pick up stray dogs off the street and take them out for all you can eat. Because of all that, you win Best Constable 2 years straight. Just when you think this peaceful life is gonna keep rolling, the Imperial Court sends recruiters to conscript soldiers. And guess who's first on the list? You constables. Because y'all eat government food, you're in decent shape, and you've had some training. Just when you think there's no way out, you get exempted from military service, thanks to those 2 consecutive Best Constable awards. You're about to say, good things come to good people, when a local military officer shows up looking dead serious. You think he's here to cause problems? But nope. He wants you to look after his 15-year-old daughter. He's about to ship off to the front lines, and he's heard you're out here doing good every day. He thinks you're someone he can trust, so he offers to leave you a fat stack of cash, and just asks you to take care of his girl. You don't overthink it. You say yes on the spot. Next thing you know, you're standing at the officer's front door. You knock twice and call out, "Cheyenne, you home?" Suddenly, you hear quick footsteps rushing inside. A girl peeks out and timidly goes, "Hi, bro Shen." You smile and say, "I'll be looking after you from now on." Your dad told you, right? Cheyenne gives a shy little nod. You go, "All right, I'll go grab my clothes and bedding and move in." Cheyenne freezes. Her face goes red and she waves her hands. "No, no, no! This is way too fast! Besides, I'm not even of age yet. I know you're a good guy, bro Shen, but let me just turn you down on this one." You're a little thrown off by this out-of-nowhere rejection. She clearly misunderstood. You laugh it off. "I live right down the street, 3 houses down. Need anything? Just come find me." Then you help her tidy up the house and take her out to stock up on supplies. A few days later, the girl starts warming up to you. You start teaching her math and science whenever you've got time. Under your guidance, Cheyenne's whole world opens up. On top of that, you start dumping all your stat points into strength. You do little magic tricks for Cheyenne, like crushing rocks into dust with your bare hand. Life is quiet and honestly pretty fun. Time keeps ticking along. And while the town itself stays out of the war, something in the shadows has quietly set its sights on Cheyenne. You've heard that a gang of bandits has been holed up near Feexy Town. Lately, they've been robbing and killing people left and right. You've gone up the mountain to hunt them down multiple times, but turned up nothing. With the bandits still out there, the whole town is starting to live in fear. One night, you're out on your usual patrol, not knowing some guy at the edge of town is sneaking a group of strangers inside. These guys follow him in fast, slip into town, and head straight for Cheyenne's place. The guide knocks on the door. Little Xia! Little Xia! It's me, Wang the blacksmith. It's urgent, open up." But Cheyenne doesn't open the door. She quietly moves toward the underground passage you left for her. Just as Wang the blacksmith is about to shout again, the other guys get impatient. They bust the lock and push their way into Cheyenne's room. Cheyenne hears the commotion outside and tenses up. Their footsteps press in like a blade, right up against her chest, squeezing every breath out of her. And right at that critical moment, a loud voice cuts through the air. "Hey, what do you all think you're doing?" You're standing there with your lantern staring down this whole crew. These are clearly the same bandits you've been trying to catch. And Wang the blacksmith? The town's inside man. The bandits see you're alone and just start cracking up. The ringleader goes, "What are you trying to do? Walk right into a trap. Tell you what, kowtow a few times, and we'll let you walk away with your life." You don't say a word. You just raise your sword and point it at the whole group. You've got 10 seconds. Anyone still holding a weapon gets put down. They don't flinch. If anything, they laugh even harder. The ringleader grabs his blade and charges straight at you. You don't even dodge. You just reach out and grab the blade with your bare hand. Cracks spread across the entire blade, and a split second later, it shatters into dust and drops to the ground. Dead silence. The bandits just stare at the shattered blade, frozen. One of them, a sharp-looking strategist type, steps forward. "We're just wounded soldiers who fled the battlefield. No offense intended. We've got plenty of money on us, it's all yours. Just spare our lives." You don't say a thing. You just casually run your sword through the ringleader. Then you smile. "Let me introduce myself. Name's Shen Qiankyu. 4-time best constable of this town. Now let me send y'all to your next life." The bandits know they can't run. They all rush you at once. But in under 10 minutes, you're the only one still standing. Cheyenne witnesses all of it and is completely blown away. Next morning, the townspeople see the bandits laid out in a neat row in front of Cheyenne's door. Jaws drop. Gossip erupts. You get promoted to head constable on the spot. You also hear through the grapevine that one of the bandits has a brother who joined an immortal sect. He might come looking for revenge in a few decades. But you're not sweating it. A few decades from now, who even knows who's gonna beat who? Over the next few years, once you max strength out at 10, you make a surprising call. You throw 1 point into luck. You just wanted to test it out. But suddenly every random rock you pick up off the street has a gold nugget inside. Meanwhile, Cheyenne has grown into a full-on young woman. Plenty of guys in town have come knocking to ask for her hand, but Cheyenne keeps turning them all down. She's also become way more attached to you, always coming over to your place. And even though you're supposedly in your 30s, you haven't aged a day, still looking just as fresh as the day you met. "Bro Qiankyu, I made steamed fish for you. Try it and tell me if it's good." "Bro Qiankyu, wanna go fishing together? Last time you went by yourself and caught everything." "I didn't catch a single one." "Bro Qiankyu, how are you still so young?" "This ain't right. What if I get old? And you're still sitting there looking like that?" No way, no way. Absolutely not. And time slips by with every Bro Qiankyu, Xiaoyan calls out. Around year 13, news finally arrives that Xiaoyan's father is dead. That night, Xiaoyan cries for a long time. You just sit quietly by her side. Xiaoyan looks up at you through her tears. Bro Qiankyu, do you think anyone in this world actually cares about me? You nod. Yeah. Xiaoyan wipes her eyes. Who? You say plainly, me. Xiaoyan looks down, not surprised but still happy to hear it. She takes a beat, then looks up with a burst of courage. Bro Qiankyu? But before the words, I like you, even leave her lips, a brilliant flash of light appears over the town, followed by a booming announcement. The immortal master is taking disciples. Townspeople start rushing over from everywhere. There's an old man standing there, and he says, We are cultivators from the Fuyao immortal sect. We've sensed a person of great destiny here. We've come to bring them back as a disciple. The whole town practically explodes. The Fuyao sect is literally built above the 9 heavens. Their disciples outrank emperors. For a regular person, getting into a sect like this is a once-in-a-lifetime shot. The old man waits for the crowd to gather, then flicks his hand. Lights of different colors appear above everyone's heads. Then he's about to say something, and shatters his own artifact in sheer shock. The old man from Fuyao sect is freaking out. He takes a deep breath and says, We need the ancestor. A second later, a figure steps out of thin air. The mysterious figure doesn't say much. She flicks her hand and a 7-colored token flies out. It's the heavenly mechanism token, the Fuyao sect's most sacred artifact. This is the Fuyao Empress's personal treasure. It can detect someone's luck and fate, and track the path of the Great Tao. It came all the way to this remote little town, because it sensed someone of immense destiny here. The token shoots out like a meteor and lands right in front of Xiaoyan. The old man lights up and points at her. Found her. The one of great destiny. It's this girl. The mysterious figure speaks up, a clear, commanding female voice. Will you join my Fuyao immortal sect and walk the path of the Great Tao? Xiaoyan blinks, stunned. Me? The mysterious woman nods. The heavenly mechanism token measures luck in 9 tiers, and yours is top tier. You are absolutely a person of great destiny. Xiaoyan still can't wrap her head around it. She shakes her head. Are you sure you got the right person? The woman shakes her head and points to the token. The heavenly mechanism token does not make mistakes. You are the one of great destiny. This is your path. Don't even think about saying no. If you don't join us, the outside world's dark cultivators will come after your luck, and your life won't be safe. After hearing all that, you frown and ask, How do I know you won't go after Zia's luck too? The woman shakes her head. Our sect has always protected this realm. I'll swear an oath on the Great Tao. She points at Xiaoyan, and the sky and earth shift in an instant. A thin thread of light connects them across the heavens. Xiaoyan feels a strange new bond, and knows the woman isn't lying. Reassured, you ask, So what does cultivation actually look like? The woman explains, The Fuyao sect's primary path is immortal cultivation. Xiaoyan has the potential to achieve the highest level of the Great Tao, but it'll take tens of thousands of years to get there. Xiaoyan gasps, looks over at you and goes, Can Bro Qiankyu come along? The mysterious woman figures it's no big deal to bring you along too. She pulls out the heavenly mechanism token and scans you. The token flares up with a strange glow. The woman's cool composure cracks, because you have 0 luck energy. See, every cultivator throughout history has had some luck energy in their body. The more you have, the higher you can climb on the Great Tao. But there's a rare exception. People with 0 luck energy. There are only 2 explanations for that. 1. You're a reincarnated powerhouse from beyond. Someone who surpassed the Emperor level, capable of erasing anything with a flick of the wrist. But those types are universally feared across the heavens. Do not approach. 2. You're just a person with no root. Talent and luck simply unreadable. The mysterious woman frowns and flat out refuses to bring you along. Xiaoyan freaks out and says, But Bro Shen is seriously strong. He took out over a dozen bandits by himself. The woman cuts her off with a hand. You're just sheltered right now. Once you walk the immortal path, you'll see how small mortals really are. I'll give him some compensation before we leave. Xiaoyan hesitates. She wants to become an immortal, but she doesn't want to leave you. The woman sees this and keeps pushing. You don't need to overthink it. Once you join, I'll pass him a cultivation method. He can still cultivate on his own. If he's got the talent, you two will meet again. She says all the right things, but she doesn't actually take you seriously. With Xiaoyan's potential, if she doesn't die young, she's got at least 100,000 years of life. You're just a mortal. In 1,000 years, you'll be nothing but dust. Xiaoyan looks down, gripping your sleeve. Broshen, I want to go. I want to cultivate. Not for glory, just so that when the immortal sect comes back for revenge, she can stand up and protect you. She wants to walk the cultivation road with you someday, live a long life together, and just stay by your side. Truth is, over these years, she's already noticed something's off. Your face hasn't changed at all, but she's different. She'll get old eventually. That's why she wants to go. You look at Xiaoyan, crack a smile, and say, go for it. Go live the life you want. Okay, Xiaoyan agrees, then quietly wipes her tears with the back of her hand. The mysterious woman, seeing Xiaoyan agree, sets a date. She'll take her in 3 days. But on the last night of that 3rd day, Xiaoyan shows up at your door with a jug of wine. All tipsy, she goes, Broshen, hubby, open the door. You hear the noise and open right up. Xiaoyan stumbles her way inside. You see she's been drinking, frown, and wave your hand at her. Shut. You still with it? She looks up at you confused. Broshen, why do you have 2 heads right now? You blink. Sha, you're drunk. Go back to your room. She completely ignores you. She leans her head on your shoulder. Nuh-uh, I'm not drunk. I'm just a little dizzy. You're looking at her all red-faced and tipsy, just about to go get her some sober-up soup. But she grabs your sleeve tight. Don't go. Broshen, don't leave me. You sigh and give in. The two of you make your way over to the bed. Jiayan sits there, cheeks flushed, looking at you. Bro Shen, do you believe in drunk honesty? You scratch your head looking a little pained. Sha, you're drunk. But she pushes you down onto the bed, tears running down her face, stubborn as ever. No, I'm not. I'm not drunk. I like you. Bro Shen, I don't even know when it started. Maybe spring. Maybe summer. Maybe it grew over time. Maybe it was love at first sight. But I like you. I really do. You sit with it for a moment. You know a drunk person couldn't say that. You quietly pull her close. And Jiayan keeps going. Maybe if this cultivation thing never came up, I never would have said it. I've always thought you were on another level, bro. Like you're not from the same world as me. I keep thinking, you're probably never gonna age. And I'm just gonna turn into a little old lady day by day. Every time I think about that, it breaks my heart. You watch Jiayan wipe the corner of her eye. Then she grins. But this cultivation chance gave me a way out. I want to stay by your side longer, bro. Go see everything this world has to offer, together. So it's a deal, okay? You look at her smiling like she's the brightest thing in the room and you nod hard. Yeah, it's a deal. When the third day comes, Jiayan gets taken away by the Fuyao sect before she can even say goodbye. The old man from before eventually tracks you down. He's got straight up disdain in his eyes. He goes, artifact or cultivation manual, pick one. I'll give you top tier. Should be more than enough for a mortal like you. You don't care. Sure, you can't take him right now, but stall for a few hundred years and you'll be farming him for gold coins. No hesitation. You ask for a cultivation manual that burns lifespan in exchange for power. The old man doesn't get it, but he tosses you a damaged copy of the tortoise breath technique, plus 2 foundation pills, and bounces. You crack open the manual and the very first page hits you with a line. 30,000 years of lifespan to reach quasi-saint, 300,000 years to become unmatched. You scratch your head. Isn't this a foundation-level technique? But you don't overthink it. You just start cultivating. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed since Jiayan left. Your face hadn't changed one bit. The townspeople just figured you'd scored some immortal technique from a celestial being and extended your lifespan. But slowly, people started showing up at your door looking to learn those techniques. And just like that, word spread. There was an immortal living in this small town, and everyone within 100 miles had heard about it. Over the past 10 years, you'd been evenly splitting your stat points between strength and luck. You were sitting at strength 20 and luck 6. And you realized your strength had reached a terrifying level, like mountain-crushing, river-splitting levels. Luck, on the other hand, hadn't changed much. You just noticed you kept finding more money on the ground. Then one day, just as you were heading out for a stroll, the system pinged. Luck activated. Turtle breath art has evolved into Grand Turtle breath art. You just stood there, rubbing your head. No way that just happened. You pulled up the new technique, and the biggest difference from the old one was immediately obvious. 4 big glowing words at the bottom. Nascent soul technique. The whole thing burned lifespan to fuel cultivation. And it was way faster than before. You gave the system a mental thumbs up. This new technique was literally made for you. As the days went on, more and more people came looking to be your disciple. Young masters whose clans had been wiped out, seeking revenge through cultivation. And clan kids who'd been dumped and wanted payback on their exes' families. You turned every single one of them down. Just when you thought the quiet life would keep going, a shady group of strangers showed up and started scheming against you in the town tavern. They were a crew of wandering martial artists who'd just rolled into town. One guy in a bamboo hat spoke first. Word is, the town chief here is some kind of immortal. Face hasn't aged in over 20 years. And apparently some woman close to him got taken up to the celestial realm. Someone cut in. Then why wasn't he taken with her? The bamboo hat guy scoffed. Probably just not talented enough. The immortal didn't want him. That's exactly what I was gonna say. This immortal title is all hype and no substance. Dude's got no real skills. Pure clout chasing. Then he started hyping up the other martial artists around him to launch a test attack on you. The next day, 2 rival groups got into it on the street. Since they were all high-level fighters, the local authorities immediately asked you to go handle it. You spotted a little girl, maybe 5 or 6 years old, trapped and panicking in the middle of the street. The 2 groups had already started fighting, and she was about to get slashed. Then a massive wave of pressure started bearing down on the entire area. You looked at the fighters, furrowed your brow, didn't even bother with them, and walked straight to the little girl. You smiled and said, "Hey, go home, you're safe." The girl immediately nodded. She turned and bolted. You watched her disappear into the distance, and your expression went cold. You turned to the group and said, "You know I'm a patient guy. Pay for the damage and walk away right now and I'll let you off." Before you even finished, the lead fighter just shook his head. "We'll pay for the damage, but beef between martial artists? That gets settled right here, right now. Otherwise our guys become a laughingstock." You just smiled. This isn't the martial world, and I don't care who you're backed by. You want to test me? Then be ready to pay the price. The leader's face shifted. "Not sure what you mean by that, Lord Shen." You ignored him and kept talking. "White Sea Swordsman, Shungu Temple, Calm Heart Pavilion, Great Sun Mountain, whoever you're from, you've got 50 breaths. After that, you're dead." The leader exploded. "Lord Shen, I respect you as an immortal, but don't push it." And with that, the whole group slowly started closing in on you. You glanced around and said nothing more. One casual flick of a finger, a sword key shot straight through the leader. On the surface, he looked completely fine. Then the next second, he crumbled like sand. The rest of the crew took one look and scattered. After cleaning up that little circus just as you were heading home, a bamboo hat man stepped right in front of you. He clasped his hands and bowed. "Please come out of seclusion, sir. Protect the great song." You sized him up and immediately put it together. This whole test had been his doing. Then he started explaining. Turns out the region was under the Great Song Dynasty, and they were being invaded. He was hoping you, as an immortal, could step in and deal with the enemy. You didn't say yes. Instead you asked, "Are there no other immortals?" He shook his head. In the lower realm, you're the only one. There's one other, but they're in closed-door cultivation. Before he even finished, you stopped him. Lower realm? He was a little thrown off that you had no idea, but he explained anyway. This world is the lower realm. It's where mortals live. Above it is the celestial realm, where true immortals dwell. They don't come down here without a serious reason. The last time one did was when they came to this town looking for a disciple. You frowned. So there's no mass destruction events caused by immortals? He thought about it for a while and slowly shook his head. Never heard of anything like that. And when immortals descend, their power gets severely weakened. You knit your brow and fell into a memory. That immortal, even after descending, wiped out a whole city with a single slap. Their true power must have been absolutely terrifying. But after that, no one ever heard from them again. They were probably forced out of this realm entirely. The moment you realized this, you felt genuinely relieved. You figured you'd just keep laying low for another few thousand years, then come out swinging once you were truly unbeatable. And just as Bamboo Hat Guy was about to offer you the title of Royal Advisor to get you to come out, you were already gone. A few days later, you were sitting peacefully in meditation when someone started urgently pounding on your door. Turned out a household in town had been hit by something supernatural. You rushed over immediately. The victim's face was withered and dry, like every drop of blood and energy had been drained out. Mid-investigation, more bad news dropped. The scouts sent to look into the evil presence had turned up dead. Along with the body came a blood-stained note saying there was a dragon lurking deep in the mountains. It was keeping white ghosts to devour living creatures. You read the note and honestly didn't want to deal with it. But you couldn't just let the town suffer because of this thing, so you headed into the mountains. When you got to the base of the mountains, you just threw out a casual punch, and the entire mountain range started shaking. You called out, "Dragon, you in there?" No response. You grinned, cracked your knuckles, and decided to just blow the whole mountain away. In an instant, the peak crumbled like it was made of paper, and as the mountain collapsed, out came a massive serpent, dozens of meters long. You walked right up to it and tilted your head. "Bro, what exactly are you supposed to be? You're not a dragon." The serpent roared. "I just needed 100 more lives to transform into a true dragon. You dare interfere? You're not afraid of divine punishment?" You smiled and nodded. "Honestly? Not even a little." Then casually sliced it down with one strike. But the moment the serpent died, a wisp of energy shot out and burrowed straight into your body. The system pinged. Luck activated. Obtained. Flood Dragon Chi. Beginner grade. You thought about it for a second, and the Flood Dragon Chi surged forward, blasting out ahead of you and ripping apart the ground. You let out a breath and took a moment to assess your own power. Going by cultivation stages, you were roughly at Foundation Building Layer 9, basically untouchable by anyone in the mortal world. By the next morning, people in town started noticing the mountain range was just gone. Regular folks figured it was an earthquake, but the martial artists in town had a pretty good idea what actually happened. Stories started circulating in the martial world about an immortal who could shatter mountains and shake the earth. More and more fighters started moving into the small town to settle down. And you, still deep in seclusion, had absolutely no idea any of this was happening. Over those 2 years, the Great Song's border war had officially kicked off. But they were barely holding the line, just desperately defending with no ability to push back. On top of that, most of the troops that kept the town safe had been pulled away to the front lines. And with more and more martial artists pouring in, the fights just kept escalating. The local government completely lost control of the town. Ordinary people started fleeing in panic to the larger cities farther away. By the 4th year of your seclusion, the town had been renamed Little Jianghu, and martial sects were openly staking their claims here. 4 major factions had risen, and they were effectively running the place. As each sect expanded, the town itself grew into a massive, thriving city. But even as these 4 factions grew more powerful, they all shared one absolute rule that no disciple dared break. Do not go near the Immortal's house. Even though you'd been in seclusion for years and the courtyard was overgrown with weeds, not a single soul dared peek inside. By the 10th year of your seclusion, a figure appeared from a celestial sect hundreds of miles away, soaring through the sky on a green steel sword. Heading straight for Little Jianghu, some of the older fighters in town immediately recognized who it was. Yang Gang, someone who'd entered a celestial sect 30 years ago. And he was here because his cultivation was complete. He was looking for the person who killed his little brother over 20 years ago. After some digging, he suspected it was you. So he pressured the 4 major factions to call you out of seclusion. Outside your courtyard, the representatives from all 4 factions were trembling as they called out, "We humbly request the Immortal to come out. We have something urgent to ask of you." Next second, you just blinked into existence outside the door and lazily said, "What do you want?" The lead faction rep was shaking, but still managed to get through the whole situation in a rambling rush. You stroked your chin, completely unbothered. "Oh right, his little brother, was his name Yang Wei?" The guy blinked, then quickly corrected you. "No, my lord. His name was Yang Li." Your memory suddenly clicked. "Oh yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I killed him." The whole crowd froze, nobody expected that. But then, the lead guy worked up the nerve to ask you to go deal with Yang Gang. You didn't say a word. You just headed to where Yang Gang was, and on the way, you casually bumped your strength up to 35. A surge of energy rushed through your body, then quickly settled back into stillness. Your group kept moving. At their own pace, you all arrived at the spot. The moment Yang Gang saw you, he immediately demanded, "Did you kill my brother?" You gave him a lazy nod, and offhandedly said, "You should have come way earlier. Now you're just showing up to die." Yang Gang didn't even get mad. Instead, a twisted grin spread across his face. "Good thing you killed that useless waste. Now I get to kill you, and it's perfectly justified." He charged at you with his sword. You just reached out and grabbed it. The blade didn't budge an inch. The crowd watching couldn't believe what they were seeing. You smirked. "This is all the strength you've got and you think you can use a sword?" Then casually pointed one finger. A burst of sword chi launched Yang Gang flying. Yang Gang's face went dark. He gritted his teeth. "You forced my hand." He threw both hands into a seal, and the next moment, a glowing blue celestial sword burst out of thin air. It came at you with the force of lightning. You stared it down, completely calm. You gave it a bored glance, then casually exhaled a puff of flood dragon chi. The next second, a thunderous dragon roar shook the celestial sword right out of the air. It plunged into the ground and didn't move. Yang Gang completely panicked. He kept forming seals frantically, but the sword wouldn't budge. His eyes went blank. You let out a smug little grin. This is all you've got, and you call yourself an immortal? Let me show you what a real one looks like. You raised one hand, formed a seal, and dense flood dragon chi started coiling around your fingertip. Then you snapped it forward. The kui tore through the very fabric of the sky and slammed straight toward Yang Gang. A deafening boom rang out. Yang Gang blasted straight into the earth, leaving a massive crater, but no body. Just a faint red mist slowly fading into the air. The crowd around you stood there, completely floored. Jaws wide open, not a single word came out, just one thought echoing in everyone's head. He literally tore the sky apart. This is what a true immortal looks like. While they were still shaking in awe, you suddenly froze, because a new notification just popped up in front of you. Luck activated. Beginner Flood Dragon. Chi has evolved to Intermediate Flood Dragon Chi. A surge of rich, dense energy began growing inside you. Then you turned to the crowd and gave a casual wave. Alright, nothing else going on. I'm heading back. But just as you turned to leave, something hit you. Actually, how much do you guys know about Yang Gang's celestial sect? Someone immediately stepped forward. Reporting to the Immortal, that sect was founded 300 years ago. Yang Gang was the sect master's final disciple. The sect master is also an immortal, but rumor has it he's been in a death door seclusion. You nodded slowly. I sincerely hope he's actually dead. No one in the crowd dared say a word. They just gave an awkward laugh. You kept going. And where are the original people from this town? Why is it all martial artists now? One of the faction leaders quickly replied, the original residents sold their homes for good money. And moved to the nearest city. You nodded, then said almost to yourself, I like this town the way it was, then walked back into your rundown little courtyard. The next day, little Jianghu got its old name back, Weishi Town, and the story of an immortal who split the sky with his bare hands spread across the entire Great Song. During this time, Bamboo Hat Guy showed up again, for the second time, asking you to come out of seclusion. You still said no, until one day a woman's arrival changed everything. A woman in yellow robes sat inside your house staring at you with pleading eyes. It was the Grand Princess of the Great Song. She said, Sir, I'm here on behalf of the Great Song to request your aid. We'll name you Royal Advisor, and meet your every demand. You didn't care. You stayed laid back in your chair. She tried every emotional angle she could. You didn't budge. Just as she was about to give up and leave, the system pinged out of nowhere. Luck activated. Spending time with the royal family increases Flood Dragon Chi by 1. No way, seriously? You jumped up and stopped her. Go back, I'll be there in 3 days. She lit up immediately. Thank you so much. The Great Song can't repay you enough. I'll inform my brother at once. You'll serve as the nation's royal advisor. The system kept going. Luck activated. Royal family favor obtained. Flood Dragon Chi +5. Identity updated. New title, Royal Advisor of the Great Song. 20% national fortune buff. Additionally boosts your cultivation by 20%. You stared at the notification for a moment, slightly dazed, then just rolled over and went back to sleep. On day 3, you set off toward the border. One step, and you were already 1,000 meters out, moving toward the front lines at a speed that defied all logic. At that moment, the border was in the middle of an all-out war. The invading barbarians had teamed up with overseas cultivators. Together, they were slaughtering Great Song soldiers, and the one holding the city walls was the Grand Princess from before. She let out a sigh. She had no idea when you'd actually show up. Right in the middle of this stalemate, someone appeared out of nowhere on the enemy side, charging straight through the armies, headed straight for the gate. He threw up a one-handed seal, and a massive phantom claw appeared in the sky. It slammed straight into the city gate. The gate exploded. Thousands of soldiers were about to flood into the city. The entire tide of the battle instantly shifted toward the barbarian side. Just as the last crash of the gate echoed out, a figure appeared. Lazily said, all barbarians stop right there, get out of Great Song territory. One of the enemy commanders fixed you with an icy stare. Who the hell are you? You realize we have 300,000 cavalry? We can grind you into dust in seconds. You shook your head. Not some rando. You can call me the Royal Advisor of the Great Song. The moment you said it, the Great Song soldiers defending the walls erupted. The Immortal's here. The Royal Advisor has arrived. The chants thundered through the entire formation. Morale shot straight through the roof. The low, broken energy from moments ago flipped completely. The barbarians couldn't just brush this off anymore. They chose to charge. 300,000 cavalry came roaring straight at you. The ground shook. The sky trembled. Just you, standing alone at the very front. But in the next instant, your eyes were full of nothing but contempt. You raised one hand, Flood Dragon Chi began to stir, and you grabbed forward. In a single motion, nearly 10,000 cavalry were wiped out like they'd been erased. As the dust settled, you walked out calm and easy. 300,000? Even 3 million wouldn't be enough. The surviving cavalry finally broke. Fear crept in. Most of them were ready to turn around and run, but one person stepped forward. The same guy who'd blown open the city gate, Wuja Tiemu. He glared at you, seething. Damn song dogs, we're falling back today. But in 30 years, I'm taking your head. You just laughed. 30 years? Right then and there, you decided. Might as well finish this now. He straight up one-shot Tiemu, just wiped him out. But the second Tiemu dropped. A weird formation appeared on his body, golden light bursting out everywhere, and his body just rebuilt itself. The moment this guy opened his eyes, he looked around and said with total contempt, mortal bodies are just so pathetically weak. Can barely put out any power. And then, out of nowhere, a whole group of cultivators materialized behind him, bowing respectfully. We welcome the Immortal! Thank you for personally eliminating this man, paving the way for our sect's descent into this realm. But this guy didn't even acknowledge them. He just casually waved his hand. A wave of fire swept through all of them, sending every single one to their grave. Then he turned his gaze to you. You little pest caused all this commotion. You're the reason I got dragged down here. He was getting angrier by the second. You actually had the nerve to ruin my chance to talk to the Holy Maiden? You're dead. He immediately started forming seals. An even bigger wall of fire came roaring toward you, ready to end you right there. But you fired back with a straight punch, your whole body surging with dragon energy. It slammed right into the descended immortal, and he clearly sensed the danger. A golden bell barrier instantly formed around him, eating your punch. But you didn't stop there. You followed up with a flurry of blows, and after a series of massive impacts, the immortal got smashed straight into the ground, blood pouring from the corner of his mouth, barely hanging on by a thread. All he could do was threaten you. You little bug. If you dare destroy my soul, stepping outside this pocket realm is your death sentence. You just smiled coolly, not scared, and threw one last punch. The immortal was done. The moment he died, the system went absolutely crazy with notifications. Luck activated. Obtained 3 Miu of invincible aura. Slain an upper realm immortal. Obtained their cultivation technique. Xuanhun Dao Scripture, Volume 1. You were hyped. You immediately started reading through it. Turns out invincible aura is earned by killing enemies across realms. Stack 3,000 Miu and you unlock the Grand Emperor path. The Xuanhun Dao Scripture